Newcastle United have made it 3 away wins in a row, which includes the Premier League, the FA Cup, and in the Champions League. Can they make it 4 at the Etihad? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Cher. And now Murphy can take on the shot. Fabian Cher
All right, folks. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are blessed and having a fantastic Friday. No matter where you are, no matter what you could be doing, you're right here with me watching Toon Tactics TV. And so, God bless you guys for that. Looking forward to tonight's show. We are going to be doing a mix of like essentially the match reaction to the 6-1 defeat of Qarabag in Azerbaijan. We are going to be doing the match review for City that is happening tomorrow, Saturday. And we are going to look at another player that's been linked, a defender that's been linked to Newcastle. We've previously talked about him before. I personally do like him as a player. And it'd be quite interesting if Newcastle do end up getting him in. I think that would add a lot of depth and a lot of quality and experience in our squad if we were to get him. So we're not going to reveal too much. But before we get into all that, as always, folks, you always do this incredibly well. Do like, share, and subscribe. Only if you like the show, hopefully. If you like the show, please do subscribe and please do like. And always it is to see a blessing, folks, in the chat, even before we start the show, for the likes of Adrian Pickett. God bless you, sir. Even to you, sir. I hope all is well. Do let me know, guys, what's your initial thoughts and impressions of the victory over Qarabag. I am really, really keen to get you guys' views and opinions on that game. Funnily enough, I'm just looking through my tabs. I'm like, did I even get my things right? But anyway, we what from if you guys remember on the previous show, I gave a score predictions of 3-0. I can't remember what everyone else was saying. Let me know what you guys, what was everyone's previous predictions? I'm sure there was a few 4-1s, a few 4-2s, which is reasonable. And I don't think anybody quite saw, or I certainly didn't quite foresee a 6-1 defeat of Qarabag. As I mentioned, those guys have a lot riding on this, had a lot riding on this game, a lot of history, a lot of emotions behind it as well. A team that's been close to qualifying before, and was undone a little bit by um, uh, Premier League, not Premier League referee, some refereeing, sometimes Premier League refereeing decisions and stuff like that. But so I was gonna say I was expecting a tougher session, but we also did mention that our physicality, like remember we were talking about whether it's going to be 4-2-3-1, whether we're going to do the same kind of diamond formation and all this other little tactical changes that Eddie Howe had made earlier. But we also mentioned that he might just do the 4-3-3 because Newcastle are just that physically more dominant than Qarabag. I didn't realize that we were that much more dominant. But where I thought I described it, I was talking to Ash from Spurs Kings and the guys on there and to Mitch, and I felt like physically, even where I felt that we were so physically dominant, where I don't know if you ever guys ever, like, for instance, just having a little kickabout with your little nieces or nephews, and and I'm not trying to be this, but like you have to kind of, you're being careful. You don't want to knock them down too much or whatnot, because you might hurt them. You're kind of being careful. Like, I felt physically we were so dominant that we were kind of even we I felt sometimes that we were like, what's the word I'm looking for? We were kind of almost like trying to get around them rather than even do like a one-on-one shoulder barge and get them off the ball. I think partly because we didn't want to get we didn't want to get a book for no reason because I just thought that we were just that much physically dominant. That's not trying to be, as I'm saying that, I feel like I'm being disrespectful, but that wasn't the idea. But I just thought that we were so much taller, so much bigger, so much stronger, so much faster, so much more athletic that you know I haven't seen for a long time us slice through the center of someone's team as we did against Qarabag. We also forced them into. They tried to build up from the back. We forced them into mistakes there. It didn't work out for them in those situations. They tried to. They tried to. They, I was gonna say they tried to hit us on the transition, um, but I felt like those attacks really fizzled out quite quickly. We were able to get back in time. They didn't have the ability to play around us. Um, it was such an interesting. It was such an interesting, like not interesting, but it felt like it was such a dominant display that it was so difficult to categorize. So let me share my screen. Good to see a few folks in the chat. I'm going to get to you guys in a moment. It's trying to hard to put it into words, like it's, but it's a third away victory, which is also important. So cool. I've set that up. Here we go. Good to see my man Bobby Fairview as always, sir. God bless you, sir. Big up Philip and Toon fans. I hope you're doing well. We are here. Absolutely. We are. We are. Absolutely. Who's Chelsea playing? Are you guys playing on Saturday? Who's Chelsea playing? Big up Dave. God bless you, Dave. Good evening, Philip. Good evening to you, sir. I hope all is well with you. Adrian says, wonderful result. Indeed, it was. Absolutely, it was. I've lost this thing. Let me fix it. Here we go. Wonderful result. Qarabag were even worse than Spurs. Did we make them look that bad? Saturday night will show us if this upturn has solid foundation. That's a really interesting take, actually. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think our dominant displays over Qarabag, over Villa, over Spurs, is it a firm foundation, or are we kind of do you think City could expose that? Let me know. Dave says, I don't think we're winning, but looking for good performances. That's for the City game. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Big up to my man Wobodrog as always. God bless you. I know Wobodrog here is here to you're not here. I hope you're not here to ask for any favors. Because I'm sure Arsenal have got it all in their hands, right? I'm sure you guys do. But good to see you, Wobodrog, as always. So let's do a quick rundown. As I always say, the most important metrics are the goals themselves. When Newcastle scored 6 of them. I want to say, though, also on the back of this, is that, leading up to this, this is obviously, against City is going to be our it's going to be 4 away games. We've obviously won the last 3, 2-1 versus Spurs, 3-1 versus Villa, and now 6-1 versus Qarabag. No matter what happens with City and others, I don't think. I think it's been a really good. Whether those teams are good, no matter where they are in the leagues, I do think we still played well. And you can only beat what's in front of you. And I think we deserve to win all those games. There's not one of those games, in my opinion, where you're saying, oh, we got away with it there, I don't think not one of those games, in my opinion. So, if anything, especially Villa got away with their lives, it should have been a clean sheet for us. Anyway, So 6-1 to Newcastle United. Qarabag did play in their 4-2-3-1. They had us in their 4-2-3-1. And I'm going to talk about this 4-2. Is it a 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1, Voltemada? Is he 10? Is he 8? Is he what? I'm going to read an interesting article from The Athletic, because they got a few comments from Eddie Howe on it and everything else. And I think it's really, really interesting. And I think, to be fair, a lot of you guys have been saying a lot. I can't remember who said it, but I have been kind of on a similar wavelength as well. So some of it won't come as a surprise to you. Okay, so jeez, I forgot about this one. Distance is covered and everything else, but we'll get to that in a moment. Performances, shooting, dribbling, defending. Gosh. All right, so 6-1. Gordon, if you look at our starting lineup, obviously Gordon started in that number 9, in the number 9 role. Obviously he's a 10, but he's our central striker with Barnes on the left. He also got an assist. I can't remember the assist he got. And then Lango on the right, Voltemada just behind him. In that diamond, is a diamond midfield or is it a number 8 position? But he's in that 3 with Tonali, Voltemada, and Willock. And then with Ramsey on the bench, quite surprisingly, but I think say surprisingly, but it's rotations. It's Eddie Howe's doing well with the rotations. Trippier making it to right back with Malik Chow, Dan Burn in central midfield. Lewis Hall, who I thought had a really, really good game as well. And Nick Pope. Nick Pope got 5-8. I think he didn't have much to do, but the goal that he did concede, geez Louise, bro. You scare me when you do stuff like this, Pope, and you've been playing well so far, so please don't ruin that. But yeah, let me know if there's any surprise for you guys in that lineup. Apart from really, I can kind of understand from our point of view where we're trying to rotate. Jacob Ramsey came on in the 68th, or Sola came on the 68th. Murphy played on in the 68th as well. I think all those guys started against Villa. It was good to also see Joe Linton come on in the 77th. And he was relatively quiet, but you can tell there's a lot of ring rust there. It's going to take him a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts against Qarabag in the return leg. I don't see him starting at all versus City. But I see him starting against Qarabag probably from the beginning. Now, Sean Neve, and I don't usually do this, Sean Neve came on in the 87th minute, and he played 3, 4, 5 minutes. I can't remember how many minutes he played, and I put it on a post. I can't remember. I think I was responding to a post. But Sean Neve, in the flashes that I saw him, the little cross, the little stuff that he was doing, he kind of reminds me of Anthony Gordon. He kind of reminds me of Anthony Gordon, and I'm always interested to see, especially when someone's coming up from the academy, are they physically, are they filling out? Are they going to be physically ready? Good, could they possibly challenge, like Lewis Mann? You can tell, even when he was 17 years old, he's going to grow. He's going to be. He's already grown. He's massive. I remember coming to a preseason game when he was 17, 18. Now I'm about 6'1", 6'2". He was already taller than me. So I already had my mind. All that was there was, okay, does he have this? Obviously, from then I was like, will he have the skills, the competence, the attitude, mentality for it? And obviously, Mr. Miley has that in spades, right? So for me, Sean Neve already passes the physical test. Quite like he's a tall, big, athletic guy. I was watching him talking to Anthony Gordon. They look about the same height. And the small touches that he was doing, again, 5-minute stuff. Right? I'm not here. How do I say it? And I'm sure you guys understand where I'm coming from. I'm not here saying he's the next big thing. We're not going to have to buy another forward again. Yada yada yada. Not at all. But I like where he's at already from a physical point of view. Some of the stuff touches he was making on the ball, I'm willing to see him a lot more. Like, in fact, I'm willing to see him possibly even start against Qarabag on the return leg. Like I want to see a little bit more of him in terms of what he's doing. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe some of you guys have seen him play a lot more. This is like my first kind of experience of seeing him to that extent. So maybe you guys know a lot more. So I'll really be keen to hear what you guys think. Davey says, didn't expect last 3 away wins. Yeah, like we were going on a we were. I think we were beaten by City 3-1 at Etihad before we. Was it City? Someone beat. No, we lost to Brentford 3-2 when the boos rang out. And then you're saying you've got 4 away games, and look at that. You're thinking, what's going to happen in those 4 away games? And look what's happened, essentially. Davey says, Villa ref was shocking, Philip. Listen, like I've said, I don't know if you missed it, Davey. I made it my stance very, very clear. It's VAR for life for me. It's VAR for life. I hear what people are saying about it takes too long. Sometimes they get it wrong anyway. They draw the wrong lines in the wrong places. Overall, whatever mistakes, issues VAR people have with VAR, I feel like without VAR, it is far outweighed from what we have with VAR. And some people are comfortable with it. And it's typically fans that come that support some of the elite teams. We're like, oh, it's okay. It's all part of the controversy. Make mistakes. What's wrong with that? Yeah, because it's not. Your teams are usually on the other end of that controversy. Usually those mistakes go in your favor and against the favor of slightly less high quality teams. So for me, it's VAR for life. And plus, I think referees are used to it now. You can tell the linesmen, the ref, they were missing VAR. They were holding on to dear life for VAR. For me, it's VAR for life. Knee was on. He was. I think he went through I think it bounced off somewhere before it went through his legs. But that would have been beautiful. But the thing is, what I will say about that though, Davey, he was in the right place, right? His movement was good. Like his movement there was good. His pass that he made, there's little things that he was doing. And like I said, I like. I think physically, I think he's there. He's ready. All I'm going to say is watch this space. Let's watch this. I'm going to watch this space. Again, I've had 5-6 minutes of him. So I'm going to hold my horses. So Neve is my school pal's grandson. Boy, God bless him. He's done well there, Dave. If you've seen more of Neve, do let me know. I'll be so keen. Like, do you know, like where he plays? Like, he's better. He's obviously a forward, but like, yeah, I'm looking out for him, Davey. Honestly, I'm looking out for him. Wobajok says, minor hiccups, buddy. But you know what? We laugh here, but that's how you should look at it. If you're especially in the position that you are for Arsenal in terms of like the League Cup, if there's been people it's happening again, all this stuff, and I know that we as rivals, everybody laughs about it, but the mentality has got to be, if this was Newcastle, I'll be like, guys, we've got to treat it as a hiccup. Honestly, just got to keep it as a hiccup, because if we start allowing ourselves to get immersed in the social media, allowing ourselves to be taken by the waves of criticisms of opposition fans and falling on the ground and crying and saying we need to change our manager, that's it's okay for us rivals to be doing that, right? Because we don't care, it's not our team, right? But as an Arsenal fan, if it was Newcastle in that same position, I said we've got to treat this as a hiccup, man. Wobajok says, still think we win it exactly. Still think we win it. Wobajok, I'm almost not going to read the next comment because I feel like this is becoming heresy. Because of this, I'll read it. We've got the best number 9 in the league. The Gyokotron. The Gyokotron moves like one. I'm actually a little dead inside after the last 2 games, man. It's getting dark. You know what? He started off so bright and sprightly, and he just went into the darkness. And as I say, as you know, this will be a joke. I told these guys, all these rival fans in the position, I say, you got to, I do the Bane talk. I said, look, you can't just, you've only adopted the dark. We was molded by it. You got to embrace it. You've got to embrace it, Orbajog, man. You got to embrace it, man. That's there's no you know that there's little rhyme. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You can't go left. You have to go through it. You have to embrace that darkness, man. So go for it, man. A Warbadrug says, I have a feeling there's a high correlation between views on Brexit. Oh, jeez. I'm tempted to ask you to extend that um to kind of whose views will fits on what. Right. So, a couple more things on the game itself. I was hoping to see on Opta Analyst because I thought they have Champions League games, but they don't. They don't have it. But so Anthony Gordon scored 4 goals, and I have to say this, guys. This is hopefully this is the different. This is the difference between online and match going fans, maybe because some of the online stuff, like I can't like, and I know you guys know where I'm coming from on this. Is we've just had a striker score 4 goals in the Champions League in one game in Anthony Gordon. He has 10 goals in the Champions League so far. There's there's legends and names who haven't scored 10 goals over multiple Champions League games, right? And I just think that's phenomenal. I think that's amazing. We were battling Championship, excuse me, relegation only 4 years ago, just more than 4 years ago. I think it's incredible. But some of the stuff I've seen online, I know it's online. I know you might say, Phil, it's online, but it's breathtaking how some people can still snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. How they can still go on about, oh, but Voldemort, that he should have let Voldemort have that penalty, and they did that frame of him looking sad, where they literally after they celebrated the goal, but literally the next frame of him is really, really being happy. Or I don't know if it's the before frame or after frame, but being happy that the guy scored the goal. The fourth goal. Like, it's a nonsense. I disagree with Trippier's approach. I think Trippier should have never gone to Gordon just before he's taken a penalty to have an argument about your own player, to have an argument about who should have the penalty. The match is not over. The tie is not over. At that point, that was going to be the third or fourth goal. And you know this Trippier better than anyone because you've played in the Champions League more than any other Newcastle player, I believe, or this current squad anyway. So you know that we need to build a healthy lead so we can have we can rotate for the set. There's the battle itself, the tactical battle itself, in terms of the two-legged tie, but there's a strategic battle, which is we need to get as many goals. But also that's the wider point of view. The micro point of view, which is on Anthony Gordon, our striker. I don't know if you noticed Trippier. I don't know if you've noticed this, but our strikers, Voldemort, Wissa, Osola, have all been struggling this year. And we've got one striker at the moment who's on his fourth goal or third goal at the time. You just need him to keep it going. I don't care if Newcastle had 100 penalties for that game. Anthony Gordon takes all 100 penalties for that game. Because when you've got a firing striker who believes in himself, who believes that any shot he takes is going to go in, you have a team then who then can have every chance of winning games, even winning games when they're not supposed to win games, which is the City game coming up. So I disagree very, very firmly, and he's got a 10 out of 10 rating for this game as well. I disagree very, very firmly with Trippier in his approach to Anthony Gordon in this. And I also don't believe in charity penalties. I'm sure Wolverjog and Arsenal know all about charity penalties. Big up Wolverjog. But Voldemort just scored the other day against City. Not against City, against the Villa. He doesn't need any help scoring goals. Let Gordon score as many goals as he likes. As long as he feels that at any moment, any stage, he can score goals, let him do it. I love the interview that he had on the back of this game where he said, I know that when in the starts I had before in the number 9 role, I knew that I was good. I had good games. I just didn't score. And I agree with him. We talked about this, guys, before. I agree with him. I just didn't score. But I knew I could do it. I knew I could be good at it. And now you can see it happening. So when a striker's feeling like that, he's already felt before. He was going mentally before. He's not scoring the goals, but he knows he's making the runs, he's doing the movement, he's doing everything necessary to be a good number 9. But the goals are not coming for whatever reason. He got put back into the left wing forward role. Now he's back at the number 9 role because of, by default, Voldemort is not performing as number 9. Wissa's injured, but he's also not performing either. And the Solar is a periphery player. Now he's there, and now they've tweaked a few things tactically, and you're going to see it through the Athletic article we're going to read in a moment, because even though it's about Voldemort, it covers other parts. Now he's there, and he's scoring the goals. Let him keep scoring the goals. Why are you arguing with him at the penalty spot? Imagine Gordon goes and misses that. Like, you don't play with these. There was a very brief period in that game where I think when they scored, it was 5-1, and then they had like 2 or 3 more shots after that, Qarabag, where any one of them could have gone in, and it could be 5-2, 5-3, and then we're all looking at the most unbelievable comeback ever. Like, come on, like, because we're heading into the final stages of the season. We may have just cracked it, at least for the next month or so, maybe in terms of tactical shifts and personnel. Come on, man, just play it. But let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go to the chats in a moment, but that was the main thing. So yeah, you can see the heat map. He was spending a heap load of time in the Qarabag penalty box, and you can see him being dangerous, picking up the ball in the final thirds, in the half spaces just before the penalty. Before the penalty box, which was really, really good. Barnes would be frustrated he didn't score in this game, but obviously you see him in that left wing forward position. There was someone I wanted to look at. So Barnes, by the way, what an assist for Dan Burn with the outside of his left foot. Do you guys remember that for the first goal? And then that through ball. That was when I saw Dan Burn. When I saw that first goal, they allowed Dan Burn to go from to cruise through the central of their midfielder, through the central of their midfield, and to be able to let off an outside foot ball, through ball onto Anthony Gordon. I said, these guys are in trouble. Qarabag are in trouble if they think they're gonna if they think they can let us do that. But Dan Burn, another solid game. Malik Chow, by the way, scored another goal. He's got 5 goals this season or something like that. How many goals has Malik Chow's got? He's got like 5 goals this season. Let me just double check. He has season so far 25-26. This is the Premier League, 23 appearances. It's not giving me all the ones, the Premier League, but I think he's got 5 goals, right? 4 goals in the Premier League and 1 in the Champions League, right? So again, he's having a phenomenal opening season, I think. Super good. Tonali did this thing, Hall did this thing. For me, the man of the match is very clear. It's Anthony Gordon. But let me know what you guys thought of the game. Let me know what you thought of the whole penalty gate thing. And yeah, before we head into that match preview, let me see what you guys are saying in the chats. Wobojok said, oh no, you're talking to Adrian there. Sorry. James says, good to see you, James. God bless you, by the way. Good to see you. Oh, wow. Thingy did that thing. StreamYard did that thing where you won't know, but like when I look through the chats, it pauses, and it looked like I had 3 or 4 chats. So I had time to talk, and then I scroll down, and it kind of releases all the messages. Like, oh, like there's tons. So I thought I had 4 messages, but it's like more than twice that. James says somehow I'm under 21 goalkeeper. Somehow I'm under 21 goalkeeper scored a goal. Also Neve has. Who's our under 21 goalkeeper? But he scored as well. And Neve, yeah, Neve as well. Are they playing today? Let me know, James. But yeah, I make Phil. God bless you, James. Like I said, good to see you. Dave says 100% Phil. Not a fan of Gordon. Excuse me, not a fan of Gordon. Not a team player, but let's keep him scoring. And that's probably the most logical and mature comment I've had. Like, exactly. You don't have to be a fan of Gordon, but you can say for the good of my team. So long as our striker, who I'm not a fan of, is scoring and believes he can score, just let the man keep scoring. Jeez Louise. Now I'm a fan of Gordon, but I'm still in the same line of thinking as you, Dave. Like just let the man keep scoring. Please, if he believes he can score, if in his mind he thinks he can score 30 goals at the end of the season, man, keep him like keep him on that. Whatever he's taking, like keep him on that. James says, oh no, he's talking to Adrian there. Warbodrox says, think the correlation is inverse. Example, negative view on Brexit equals high likelihood of positive view on VR, vice versa. So that means, yeah, oh, geez. I hope I don't think so. I hope it's more mixed. But I hear what you're saying, man. I just want fair decisions. That you would have seen. I don't know if you saw the Villa game, Warburg jog, but it was criminal. Fans just say sometimes certain refereeing decisions are, oh, it's criminal. The game's gone, and really, you can say, yeah, it was a bad decision, but it wasn't like the game's gone. You're overstating it. No, with these decisions that we saw in this game were criminal. They were criminal for sure. So I don't know. I don't know where that puts me. Bobby Fairview, Eddie Howe. Yeah, you didn't say Eddie Howe. That's good. He's growing on you. That means. Bobby says Eddie Howe is all set to stay focused on one competition. May as well get Champions League qualification by winning the competition. I think he's doing what I would do. That's what I think. I think he's doing. I think he's focused on all competitions. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I don't think there's been like. I don't think, for instance, he's sent weakened sides. He's rotated teams, but he hasn't put on like academy players or like players that haven't seen the light of day all of a sudden to cup. So I think he's taking it very serious. I mean, we've had 2 Premier League teams already in the FA Cup. We're now on to our third. Like we keep playing, we keep doing things. So I think we're taking them more seriously. To be fair, but if we were to win the Champions League, I know. What I'll be curious of, the one I'll be curious to know is those that don't like, especially big time content creators. Like, I wonder if they'll be still tempted to say something. Yeah, we won the Champions League, but I'm not going to excuse the horrors I've seen in this season. I can see that's exactly what's going to happen. If we were to win the Champions League, they'll still say, yeah, we won it and it's historic, but I'm not going to excuse the horrific performances. I'm not going to excuse all the tactical incompetency that Eddie Howe has shown. We're going to be like, be quiet, please. We won the Champions League. Even the Champions League, you can honestly, I can see that happening. I can see. James says, if you're wondering for Gordon, he is a penalty taker, and that's as far as I'm going to take it. I understand Trips' view. Yeah, and what I liked as well at the end of it, James and others, is that they, even if it was pretend, I don't care. They still went in front of the cameras together. I think it was for TNT Sports, and they talked about it and they said, "Oh, it's nothing. We've had a difference of opinion, but it's all good. Like, it's for the game. Like, whether even if they don't talk to each other after this game, which I don't think will happen, they still did it. And I like that it was wrapped up. It was wrapped up there and then and there. Like, and that's probably a lesson for life. If you've had a bit of a flare up of your mate or whoever, someone that you really care about, the best thing to do is wrap it up. Like, as have the flare up, but deal with it, wrap it up as quickly and as possibly, which is what they did. So big up to them. Wobberjog says, I'm going to go into the match preview. I'm going to start with this article. Standard FC and World War III are the main two existential threats of the sport. I agree. Honestly, Wobblejoke, I agree. Right, so let's go into the match preview for the City game. Now I'm gonna read two athletic articles with you guys. One is about is more focused. It is focused on Newcastle, Voldemort, his role, um, and I'm gonna kind of use that in relation to this game because we talked about it as well. But also there's a second article we're going to read more about City and how they've kind of changed. We've covered City. This is our fifth game. We've still got another game against them for the FA Cup. Heaven help us if we play the Champions League as well. But anyway, so it's going to be interesting to talk about another way of kind of breaking down their team. So do look out for that. But let's start off with this article first from The Athletic. And I want to big up The Athletic. I'm going to go back to this 4-2-3-1. Can you guys see this? Did I bring it up? No, I didn't bring it up. That's good. I checked, actually. All right, boom. I want to big up the authors first. Now, the focus of this article is talking about Voldemort and where he's been positioned and what he's doing. But it expands to Newcastle's overall formation and it talks about different team and players. So I thought it covers us quite well going into the match preview. And it's on the back of the Qarabag game. So it's very, very recent. When was it released? So Nick Voldemort's move to midfield at Newcastle has unlocked his significant talents, which is very good and very interesting to see. But we've got our main man, Chris Waugh. A lot of folks know him. He's our Newcastle journalist, Geordie. I think he's a superb journalist in my opinion. And I'm not going to pronounce the gentleman's name very well, but it's Anan Tajith Ragruman. So they've put up this tactical analysis of Voldemort put together. What is interesting about it is, like I said, we've had all these debates about is it number 10 role? Are we doing it different? Is it a 4-4-1-4-1? Is it 4-3-3? Is it 4-2-3-1? Where is and what is Voldemort doing? And as we're discussing Voldemort here, they are obviously they're talking directly about not what his position and what his role is, but also what style of play and what Newcastle are essentially doing, which I think is really, really interesting to see. Now, they go on, obviously, the whole thing about they start off saying this. So we'll start from the top. It says, even so, when Eddie Howe described Voldemort, his £63 million striker, as a midfielder. So keep that in mind. So Eddie Howe's not saying 10. And anybody who knows Eddie Howe very well, I don't think he's an overly big fan of 10s or even the role of 10. He just described him as a midfielder. At Aston Villa on Saturdays as a midfielder, it jarred. Not only because the German was brought in as a centre forward, and that's when we had all these articles going, but he's unhappy, and they're going to talk about the article as well. Not only because the German was brought in as a centre forward, Newcastle did not discuss him playing as a central midfielder in a 4-3-3 before he was signed. So, that was never on the cards for him when he first came. But because some supporters suggested Howe had shifted systems and deployed Voldemort as a number 10, in a 4-2-3-1. So that was a big thing that people thought people think that's what he is. However, they pose this question to Eddie Howe. And this is what Eddie Howe said about the whole number 10, 4-2-3-1. This is what Eddie Howe said. It's the same system. Eddie Howe says, it's the same system. We've been playing for years. We've been playing the system. So there's no difference there, which is very interesting. An unusually forthright Howe told NUFC TV following Wednesday's 6-1 victory over Qarabag. But he qualifies because, this is Eddie Howe, the personnel within the system are different. And I think that's the key thing right here, right? And they're going to go into it, but that's the key here. For Eddie Howe, this is directly from Eddie Howe. For him, it's the same system that we've been playing for years. What's the same system that we've been playing for years? It's the 4-3-3, right? The one that everybody complains about, even our top analysts. He never changes. He don't have a plan B. Da, 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 da. And now with Voldemort, the role change. Like, oh yeah, we've seen something different. And Eddie Howe saying, no, it's the same. I haven't changed anything. What has changed, and most crucially, are the players that are playing in this system, the personnel. So that's given us a different look. That's what I'm taking from it. That's giving us a different look from what we're doing. So he says, he goes on to say, or Chris Watt goes on to say, as has regularly been the case on the Howe, his team shaped in a 4-3-3 during the wins over Villa and Qarabag. Now, it's hard to pinpoint why it has been perceived as a different setup, perhaps because Voldemort plays in the left number 8 role. Very differently from the conventional central midfielders, or maybe his typical position as a centre forward lends itself to the preconception he could be fielded on a more advanced level. So because we see him playing behind the striker, it looks like he's playing number 10 role. But really, he's just being a good number 8. A very central number 8, but a different type of number 8. Remember, we've got Bruno Gomes, who was playing in the advanced role, but we all know Bruno Gomes is a midfielder. But he was our advanced midfielder. This time is Voldemort, who's a totally different profile. To Bruno, but positionally he's been playing the same role, but he provides the different things, right? So they're going to say, so after the Brentford game, Newcastle squeezed in more training time, recognizing that the additional work was required to rekindle previous partnerships and build their new relationships. And this is going to be an interesting part because we all talked about this. Anthony Gordon operated well as a non-conventional centre forward. That's another new term, non-conventional centre forward. False number 9, basically. I don't know. Before Voldemort or Johan Wisson arrived, that's true. Even if he could not score and Newcastle were failing to win early season games, and Howe felt his pace and intensity made him better suited to leading the line. And folks, you remember we talked about how important it is when we see Gordon's ability to close down, to press from the front, prevents so many central attacks from the opposition teams against us. That's why the intensity is so important. And we talked about it also is how, I think it was for the Villa game, we talked about how, because we saw the Tottenham game, having Willock, having Barnes, Gordon, Elanga, having, essentially our status as runner FC, all of our runners, athletes, playing from central position, from the frontline positions, being intense and bringing back that intensity, that ability to press from the front. Eddie Howe has kept those players up. And I was saying how for the Villa game following, it'll be interesting to see if Usola rather than Wissa, Usola rather than Voltamada start as the number 9, because Eddie Howe wants to keep that intensity, those runners at the front lines, whether it's Elanga or Murphy, Usola and or Gordon, Barnes or whoever, but athletically powerful, strong runners from the front. And that's what he did. And he's come back to that essentially. Voldemort played in behind those guys as well, in a very, very different role. So during those sessions, which is the extra sessions they started doing, some at a tapered down pace, so they couldn't keep it intense. They're playing 3 games a week. Given Newcastle's intense schedule, Voldemort 24 has regularly been deployed as a left-sided number 8. Now, what's interesting again is maybe that actually makes some sense. Has Ramsey hasn't played at the same time as Voldemort yet, has he? Like in a midfield role. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me just double check this, because we looked at the Tottenham game. It was Ramsey. Let me see this. It was Ramsey. Let me get back to this. Ramsey, Newcastle, because it's Ramsey who plays in that. It's between Ramsey and Joe Linton. Obviously, we're focusing on Ramsey. So let me just see something. Newcastle United against Tottenham. It was Ramsey in the left 8 role. Obviously now Bruno's still fit. He's playing. But then against Villa, we know that Ramsey played as well. Bruno, it was a bit of a pivot. Voldemort did play with Ramsey. They did start together. That's why I wanted to see the most of this game. That's why I wanted to see most of this game. But that's interesting, right? So I pointed that out to say this is he's playing in that left 8 role. Let me bring back to that Athletic. He's playing in that left 8 role. They can play together, but it's a different way of playing. Let me just bring this up. All right, so let's continue with it before. All right, so I'm going to go to the chats in a moment as well. Where is it? Is it ready? Have I got it here? Can you guys see it? Yeah, you can. Yeah. So he's regularly been deployed as a left 8. Given his recent struggles as centre forward, coaches felt a deeper role would allow Voldemort to receive the ball in different positions and situations, helping him use it more effectively and benefiting the team in attack. So following Bruno Guimaraes' hamstring injury last week, the need to inject fresh ingenuity into Newcastle's engine room also grew. So it was handy that Voldemort already spent some time training there. So what's interesting is that Voldemort was already playing in that midfield role before Bruno was injured. So this is what Eddie Howe says. He's such a unique player, Howe told UFC TV after the Qarabag win. Tactically, to play different positions is not easy. He's taken it to very, very quickly. So he's playing as a midfielder, guys. He's playing as a midfielder, and you can see it here. So they're going to say at Werder Bremen and Stuttgart, Voldemort was sometimes used as a second striker or as an attacking midfielder. Howe trialed the German international there as they eased past Bournemouth on penalties in the FA Cup. You guys remember that when Wissa and Voldemort played. As the average position map shows, so you're going to see it here. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Shows Voldemort was a central attacker behind Wissa in a 4-2-3-1. So this is versus Bournemouth. I'm sure you guys can see that. You can see that. So Wissa at the front, Barnes and Willock further up, with Voldemort just in behind here, almost level with Barnes, Rams and Tonali in a double pivot. That looks more of a diamond, right? If anything, what I was describing before against Tottenham was probably an upside down diamond. So that's what's happening there. And it goes on to say, how's experimentation last month? So that was where he played. So they debated whether it's going to be a number 10 or 8. Howe believes that he can do both, but he believes Voldemort can do both, and more evidence by his reassignment as number 8. At Villa, so this is the other, at Villa, as the pitch below shows, Newcastle's 4-3-3 often became almost 4-1-4-1, with Sandro Tonali staying deeper and Voldemort and Jacob Ramsey advancing from a midfield, so a diamond midfield. Again, I'm using fancy words as well, but essentially a 6 and 2 8s. So you can see this is against Villa, and what you can see here is, and by the way, so I know this is a little bit different, but it's good to see when Ramsdale was here, look at the passing patterns here. And then when you've got Pope, I'm going to mess it up, but with Pope, basically, they're not there. Let me just say that. So anyway, back to it. So this is against Villa. This is against Villa, Dan Burn and Chow, with Tonali just in front of them there. But you can see Voldemort in the number 8, right next to Mr. Ramsey here. Tonali, so you can see this upside down diamond here with Trippier and Hall joining it, but you can see them just in behind Osola there as well. But the role is in the number 8 role there, and rather than the number 10. And against, what's interesting again is against Qarabag, Voldemort's position below is actually deeper than Tonali's. So the supposed number 6. Joe Willock is even deeper, but the position of the average touches shows Voldemort was playing as a genuine midfielder rather than as a striker. Against Qarabag, he played even deeper. Probably explains why he didn't get that many shots, I don't think. So you can see him. Now, Qarabag's different, right? But because we just ran through them. But Dan Burnchow, Willock playing deeper. You can see him here with Tonali. And look how Voldemar there is. You've got three midfielders essentially playing in midfield with a huge gap between them, Gordon, Barnes, and the Langer, with Hall and Trippier in support. But that was pretty much enough to kind of disturb them, really. But Voldemar is not a 10. He's playing in midfield. He's playing as a number 8. At Villa, significant proportions of Voldemara's involvement included a goal to end his 14-game drought, game between the halfway line and the box, as shown in his dashboard below. So I'm going to go to the chats in a moment, but again, very, very interesting. You can see here, most of his actions, most of his play here, you can see the screen's going from up to down, by the way. Most of his passes, his defensive actions, his carries, everything. At least 2/3 of them, more than 2/3 of them, came from within his own heart, rather than an advanced role where you expect to see where you expect to see a number 10, right? So that's super interesting. Against Qarabag, meanwhile, Voldemar actions were confined to middle third. Against Qarabag, is in the middle third a little bit more. So it's a lot more interesting where he's been deployed and what he's doing. Importantly, Voldemar has also been more involved in generally, even if a 2-game sample size is too small. So he has been typically gets about 20 to 30 touches in the game. You can see it here. They're saying despite the last 2 matches, he's been getting 52 touches, 37 attempted passes, 26 carries. That was against Villa. Against Qarabag, 45 touches, 30 attempted passes, and 23 carries, which is insane. Like, this is a lot more compared to what he was doing before. Against Bournemouth, he had 61 touches, 42 attempted passes, and 36 carries when he was number 10. So he's way more involved. That was across his 120 minutes too. So that's a lot more, not 90. And he did play the full 120 minutes for that. Whilst in the Premier League, Voldemara's highest ever touches were 37, which came against Bournemouth. That was 120 minutes. And 21 touches there. So 21 passes. So a lot more. So even when he scored with his last 6 shots on target for Newcastle, that's when the goals dried up. So yeah, he's very much a midfielder in this current role, but he's just a different type of midfielder to Bruno and to what we're used to. So it ends up by saying the head coach values versatility, and Voldemar has played as an attacker throughout his career. So 2 encouraging displays as a midfielder will not consign his previous experience to history. For now, at least, Howe has found a solution to the wildcard Voldemar conundrum, and especially with before I get to the chat, especially with Bruno's injury, obviously, he's not going back till March. I think we can expect Voldemar to play as a number 8 role a lot more often as well. And essentially what they're saying is he's playing very much as number 8 for Newcastle United. He is playing as a sometimes he can be in the middle of the pitch, sometimes he can be in the playing more and more within his own half, and surprisingly so, against Qarabag, he spent way more time in his own half. But he's very much number 8, a left-sided number 8. Now, when we broke down, I don't know if you guys remember, we broke down the previous the Tottenham game, and I saw it more as a almost like an upside down diamond, where usually you would have either a Tonali, it was either Ramsey or Bruno at the base of that midfield, with Willock and or Voldemar or Ramsey in those advanced areas. And that was the approach. What Eddie Howe would say, though, is it's still a 4-3-3. The overall system hasn't changed. It's just the personnel, the players that are playing there. It has changed. So with Voldemar playing in a 4-3-3, because of his ability on the ball, his tendency to want to drop in and collect the ball, you have him mainly playing deeper, and you have the likes of, if he's playing with Willock or he's playing with Ramsey, who are very good as advanced players, they go up essentially, but it hasn't changed what he's trying to do. But obviously he's also He's also a striker, so he gets into the box as well. And when he does that, you have the likes of you will always have someone at the base of that three man midfield screening and protecting the back line. But I feel like we have the four in the back typically, which helps us to so our rest defense is a lot better, in my opinion, and it's going to be tested against City, but our rest defense is a lot better, and I think partly that's because we're playing. We've either got 3 or 4 at the back at any one time, typically, and that's really helping us. So I think maybe that's kind of also the tactical tweak and change as well. Howe says it's more them doing those extra sessions, building up those partnerships. For him, as obviously he's the guy that created the formation, everything. He's very much saying his 4-3-3 hasn't changed. The personnel has changed. And that's it. So when we do the tactical setup against City, that's how we're going to look at it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me read your chat. Oh goodness gracious! Wow. Bobby says, Bobby says, if Newcastle think they can beat any EPL team, they can win the Champions League, depending on player fitness. I think you can do it. Do you know what I'm going to hear it. I'm going to start this. I'm going to remember this because by the grace of God, if it does happen, I can firmly say Bobby Fairview was at the beginning. He's the one that put this belief, who started this, and he's seen champions. He's one of the most unlikeliest Chelsea teams to win the Champions League. So I'm not surprised. Gordon is fastest UCK player, 37.92. Ilanga is second. Yeah, we've got. So just use our strengths. I think that we talked about this. Like we're just back to we're back to what we know. We're like, forget this strategic build-up stuff. We're going to do what we're going to do. Pressing from the front, being high intensity, is what we are. And the fact that Voldemort is playing more and more in a deeper role adds to that protection in the center of the pitch. UCL, you meant UCL, Dave, got you. Wissa is still injured. I was expecting him back late February. I hope he isn't. I hope he hasn't had a setback. Oh, that's at Adrian. Wobojok says Voltamada needs classic number. Voltamada needs classic number 9 as a second striker. Seeing how that works for Kai the few times they played Gyok Lesnar in the summer for you, my friend. Special offer, 30 million, extremely negotiable. Well, it's interesting that you say that Voltamada, not Voltamada. Well, I've got Voltamada in my head. Wobojok, because you both got W's. But Newcastle have again been linked with Delap and somebody else. I forgot who that number 9 is. But Delap's getting a whole lot of stick from Chelsea fans. But I'm telling you, as the day is long, I personally think that Liam Delap will work a treat at Newcastle. Honestly, Liam Delap would have the time of his life playing as number 9 for Newcastle. I really believe that. But I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if we were to go to get number 9. Giniesta, good to see you, sir. God bless you. I'm always excited to see Giniesta in the chat. Big up, Philip. And the chat, big up to you, Giniesta. Always a blessing to see you. Big up to my man Mitch from Where the Owls Sleep. I hope you guys have liked his shows and shared and subscribed to his shows. He's doing a fantastic series at the moment where he's comparing different areas as well. And he's got some really brilliant panel on there. So guys, make sure you watch it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Mitch says, loving the more involved role. So am I. Yeah, exactly. And I remember Mitch, you was asking about. I think you asked about. I can't remember what exactly the question was, but how. I can't remember what the question was, but it was around him being, his new role, and maybe I'm making up in my hand like who's the preferred player, and I was saying Willock. At the moment, I just don't think he's a number 10. We're talking about he's not a number 10, but he's definitely good in the midfield, and we don't play midfields. But yeah, I think he's enjoying life. He's taking way more touches. It's going to be interesting to see him against City if he does play. So We'll look out for that. All right. Big up, Mitch. Mitch says, I'm interested to see what system. Oh gosh, I'm interested to see what system you start with tomorrow. Having choices and curveballs is key. Absolutely, I agree. Absolutely, and I think it's going to be. I'm going to get when I get the tactics board out. Be interested to see what you guys think. James says, "Are you sure about the Wilbur transfer market? It's always confused me." And your. Oh, it's always Wilbur. Sorry. Um, James says, "I don't want him anywhere near the club." Oh, the lap. The lap. I don't want anything as a player, and what I've seen him playing for Chelsea, he looks useless. Yes, but it's not uncommon for players to look useless for certain clubs and look $1 million playing for other clubs. And I think it comes down to system and ways of playing, right? Newcastle, we just talked about how Newcastle have the front three that we have: pace, athleticism, and you have the midfield there and playing a more central role. Like the lap is, it's a little bit different at Chelsea, and I'm sure Bobby Furby, who's there, will attest to it, where it's a little bit more rotational, and they take a little bit more passes. They're a little bit less, just a little bit less, more direct than Newcastle are. Whereas Newcastle are way more direct, and we have wingers or left wing forwards who are there to cater to the number 9. And I think Delap, someone like him, I can, and what Wobadrug said about having when Voldemar benefits from a number 9 playing in behind him. So Delap doesn't have to do any of the, fancy finesse touches outside the box. He has the players in the midfield around him and the wingers to cater for him. All he needs to do is put the ball in the back of the net. That part he's very good at. He is very, very, no matter what people say about him, he's very, very good at finishing. And so that's what Newcastle needs. So that's why I think he would suit Newcastle. But Wobadrug says, Phil, I think Ferguson could be the ideal target for you. And we've been linked to him for, I need to really sit down and study how he's been doing. In fact, while I'm with you guys, let me have a quick, got a little bit of time. So let me have a quick look at him, because I always feel like I feel like in my mind his career has gone wayward, but then I hear flashes of brilliance about him. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. So there's Evan Ferguson's on Sofa Score. Now you can see this is the problem right off the bat. Right off the bat, this is the problem. He's been injured for most of February. Looks like January as well. And injuries have been an issue for him throughout his career, really. How's the season going so far? 25-26 is a bit early, but appearances 16, started 10, minutes per game, 49 minutes per game. That's really low. He has, though, 2 assists and 3 goals. So he's got 5 GA in 16 appearances, which isn't bad. But how old is he now? He's 21. He's a baby. 188 meters tall. He's a proper Eddie Howe number 9, though. I'll give him that. He's a proper Eddie Howe number 9. What's his career like? He's at Roma, obviously. So he's played so far this season. 20 overall for Roma, 22 appearances, 1,000 minutes played. Injuries, goals, 7. So there it is. I think that's how I kind of see him, right? The injury record is not good, and that's the worry. But when he does play, you get 7 GA in 22 appearances, or 1,000 minutes, which is pretty good. That's very good. So I don't like the minutes. The minutes are very, very low. They're very low because of injuries. But when he is on the pitch, he's very, very good. So what do you do with that? And we need him. Like, you can tell that we're playing 50 plus games a season. Would he be there? So anyway, that was my main thing. That was my main thing about him. But he's definitely, for me, an Eddie Howe type of striker. Right. So we talked about Nick Voltemada. There was something. I don't really have too much time to go on the athletic around how City play, but let's. I will talk it through when we do the tactics pad. But we know we've played them how many times already. Is my JLA board? Oh, it's still working. Let me just make sure. I've still got the Qarabag stuff on. Is it working? Oh wow, it is working. All right, so let me start it again, and then I'll get my JLA board up. But let me know, guys. First of all, let me know who you would have starting. It's so difficult with the rotations. I've been thinking about it. We'll go who I would like to play, or we would like to play. Open app. What's going on here? Who we would like to play, and who's like who. But then who? We'll work it through. We'll see who's likely to play, who would like to play, who's likely to play, because of rotations and everything else. Let me take down. Let me see if I can bring this up. But send in your lineup, but send in your predictions from now. I'll be really, really keen to hear you guys' predictions from now. JLA app. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. Excelente. Okay, so let's get this is the City's home game, so we'll bring them out first. Here we go. I don't think that City's. Well, do they start? Why did I imagine that Haaland returns. Okay, so the City are chasing the. By the way, let's just start before we get into that. Actually, let me just. So we've got the teams out because I just wanted to have a brief look at City's form, which is very, very good. We know their mentality at the moment. They are chasing that Premier League title, as Wobojog and I have alluded. Arsenal are doing their best to let it slip out of their hands, and they're giving City an opening. So let me just show you the league table quickly. Who are we looking at? Man City. We're looking at Man City. Here we go. So Man City are currently second. They've played 26 games. So Arsenal they've got a game in hand against Arsenal. Should they beat us, they would be 2 points behind Arsenal. They'll be 2 points behind Arsenal. So they've got a lot of incentive here. And Arsenal's next game is against Spurs, which is going to be a derby, which is a derby. It's going to be very, very emotional, very, very murky, very, very volatile type of game. So anything can happen. But City are going to want to do their jobs and do their jobs right. You can see their form has been pretty good. In the last 5, they've won 3. They drew 1, which is to Tottenham, ironically, and they lost 1, which is to Man United. So, and Arsenal have obviously drawn the last 2 games, and they even lost 1 in the last 5. So, if anything, both teams are fighting for consistency. So, I do feel like we're kind of meeting. Well, I was going to say we're meeting City at the wrong time, but there's a possibility. There's also a thing where could City be meeting us at the wrong time? We're on the back of a 3-game away winning streak: 2-1 versus Spurs, 3-1 versus Villa, 6-1 versus Qarabag, FA Cup, Premier League, and Champions League. Who's to say that that we're not playing well as well? That we're not getting better. We've had some tactical tweaks ourselves, so let's not. I'm not gonna. What's the word? I'm not gonna play down our chances either. Taking into account, we've got one of the worst records that the Etihad ever seen, and it being against us for sure. But this isn't us going into the Etihad 2-0 down from the first leg in the League Cup. It's going to be. Oh, I've got 2 cities. Did I put two cities up? No. This is going to be us playing them Premier League 0-0. We're not having to necessarily like chase a 2-0 deficit. We've had a good run in form. We've won the last three. We're not a bad team ourselves. What I'm trying to say at this moment in time, and I think we've got some weapons in our team and in our arsenal that you can't just discount straight away. So let me show you. So send in your what do you call it? Your starting lineup. Send in your predictions as well. Now I'll start off with City. I'll do City degrades because I did read that Athletic, but just because of time, I didn't get to kind of go through it. First of all, City. I don't. This is their previous game. I'm going to assume. Let me just see quickly who's fit. Maybe. Well, they had a week off, right? Didn't they? They've had a week off. They've got players coming back. Haaland is fit. Doku's fit. Gahey is fit. Rodri is fit. Bernardo Silva is fit. Let me just double check. Also, let me see the last game. It was against, who did they play? Salford. They get to play Salford, lucky so and so's, in the FA Cup. Whilst we have to play Villa away because that's what it is. So Gvardiol is out for the season. Doku, Savino, injury doubtful. They've got a few interesting. Let me see this. Let me show you guys. This is against Salford. Gvardiol's out. Kovacic is out. Jeremy Doku, Savino, Haaland. Let me go on the old Google here. What's the news on City's injuries? Because this is an interesting. Okay. Who's not for? Okay, let me write this. For City, who is not available to play versus Newcastle? So it's going to bring out the article. So who's not available to play? So Haaland is fully fit. Savino is fully fit. The players that aren't fit: Jeremy Doku, Vardio, Kovacic, Elaine is off with a knock. Haaland is fit. Savino's returned to fitness. Okay, cool. Cool. Let's get it here. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. Ginesta says Evan Ferguson struggled at Rome, ended by Don Casperini. So what's your take on him, Ginesta? I'll be really keen to see your views on Evan Ferguson. Do you think he's 21 years old, is a baby career-wise? Could he? Do you think Newcastle should go for him? Brighton did want to divide 100 million for him as well. James says, I think this is way too low a number goal and assist for Brighton's price, not worth it. Okay, this is around Ferguson. Ginesta says this is a Gasparini system, a striker's dream. Zapatas, yeah, all those guys. The guy turned Daniel Marlin into a demon too. So you feel like Evan Ferguson really let himself down then? Good. Guys sending their predictions. Good to see that. James says Pope, Trippier, Chow, Burn, Hall, Ramsey, Sandra, Votamada, Barnes. Got Votamada starting in Langa, 4-2-3-1. 4-3-3 is out. The 4-3-3 for Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe will just say to his 4-3-3. Eddie Howe don't give a monkeys, bro. So you got Miley. You got question. Mitch has got Miley back. Fingers crossed. Chow, Botman, Hall, Ramsey, Tonali, Willock, or Walt. Like it. Like that Gordinho up top, Willock, Wiley, Ramsey, and the Langa behind. Sandra sitting. Alex Murphy, Burn, Alex Murphy, Chow, and Jacob Murphy back four. Pope and goal. I like that. Apart from the Alex Murphy one. No, Haaland is fit. Haaland is fit. Haaland is fit. All the pressure is on City. And that's going to be the key. That's going to be one of the keys for this game as well. So it's interesting to see what approach. Do we stick with a 4-3-3, 5-3-2? What are we going to do? It's going to be interesting now. So Ake Kovacic is not fit. Haaland is fit. Doku is not fit. Which I'm Rodri is though. Take this off. Make sure you guys can see that. Yes, you can. All right, so bench is O'Reilly's not fit. I think that's a big one. Semenyo. Why have they got Lewis Smiley in their thing? And Bruno G. These guys are taking the mick. JLA, you're taking the mick. All right, so they've got Mamouche starting. I don't think he is on here. I think Harden's going to start. It's going to be Reindeers. Is it going to be Reindeers or is it going to be Semenyo? I think it's going to be Semenyo over Reindeers, in my opinion. Nico Gonzalez with Rodri, probably. Lewis is not going to be there playing over Rodri. So take Lewis out. Rodri. Is Elaine, did I say Elaine is not fit? Elaine is doubtful. He's doubtful. Elaine is doubtful. We'll keep him in there for now. Kassanou, Stones. I think Gahey comes back. I think Gahey Stones is fit again as well, so they'll be happy with that. Gahey Stones is a good centre back pairing in my opinion. Trafford won't be in goal. It will be Donnarumma. Guys, do you think Trafford comes to Newcastle? Because more articles about him. I think his agent's doing overtime. The last time they asked Eddie Howe about Trafford, he seemed, from my view, very much like they're not going to go for him again. So that's going to be it's going to be interesting. All right, so you guys have been sending in your starting lineups. I see a lot of Voltemadas continuing as well. But then if Voltemada stays, who goes? Are you going to say Willock goes? Because I think for our bench, excuse me, I started a bit too far. So let me see. We've got Joe Linton, who's not going to play, he's going to be on the bench. Osola is going to be on the bench. Roddy's going to be on the bench. Ramsdale's going to be on the bench. Murphy's going to be on the bench. Jacob Ramsey has to start, in my opinion. He has to start. He absolutely has to start now. We've got Miley here. This might be me thinking too far ahead, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think Eddie Howe is going to want to rotate quite significantly for the Qarabag game for the second leg at St James's Park. We've got that 6-1 buffer, and he's going to use that to bring back, for instance, the like of Joe Linton back into fitness to start them, possibly even Miley. So I see the likes of those guys starting on the bench. And Miley, probably will Sola starting. Obviously, he's not fit. He is fit, but I don't see him starting against City unless anything's wrong with Gordon, which hopefully there isn't. So I see him doing that. I see Ramsey coming back in for sure. I do see Ramsey coming back in. The only question is, who does he come back in for? Because I think the starting lineup will remain Elanga, Gordon, and Barnes. I think we've got balance there. Gordon does love that central midfield area. Barnes loves the left wing. Forward area, Elanga is a right wing forward. They're all happy as pigs in mud in those positions. And that's what you want. You want players to be happy playing where they are. A lot of pace and power between all of them. Their pressing game will be very, very good. And their running game will be very, very good. And it'll be very good to see Elanga versus Nuri, Gordon in between the lines against Gahey and Stones and the like. That'll be very interesting to see, right? The midfield area and it's good to have these options. It's good to have, and me and Mitch had these conversations with Ash from Spurs Kings about, he was saying, who's your midfield? And we're like, we don't always know like who our best midfield is. Like we're spoiled for choice. Like we have good midfield, right? For me, Ramsey has to be back in here. It's for who? A lot of people will say Willock, right? But Willock's very good. Like he's been playing very, very well. And what Willock's very, very good at is when we do have that, let me do it properly. He's very, very good in the transitions and joining in the play with Elanga and the likes. I've copied in Haaland by accident here. So he's very, very good. So for instance, if we're having to defend deep, which we will have to, defend deep against what do you call it, against City. So let me see if I can get it here. So if I can I not click them? Oh, come on. I can click them, but they're just doing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Better. So I'm going to bring them up. So when we're having to defend deep, right? Willock is so good in these transitions. And this is the part where there's a little bit more favor from House, I think, from House perspective for Willock. So Haaland, Semenyo, Cherky, Foden doing their kind of things, and Nico and so on in the trans in there. So you kind of got. It depends how they want to do it, City, but we'll focus a little bit more on Newcastle. When Newcastle are having to defend deep against the likes of these guys here, right? So Chow, Burn. By the way, Botman. When's Botman back? Jeez, that's another guy I need to put on the bench. I think so. I see Botman, for instance, as well, starting against Qarabag. Where's Botman? Back injury. So when Tonali's having to shift in the middle here, put Burn like this, do this. So we're kind of going to a 5 in the back, right? Now, what you want is the ability to hit on the counter as quickly as possible. Now, there is an argument to suggest that all you have to do is, say, for instance, the City are doing City things. They're trying to get in behind here. We managed to stop. Say Semenyo was here. He manages to get in behind, but Chow stops him, right? And then he releases it to Voltemada. Now, the likes of Haaland, Semenyo are going to try to close him down. Nico's going to try and get here. But what you're going to see on the other side here, and what you want to be able to do is get into that space at the back, is this. So with Voltemada, he's not going to have necessarily the pace to get away from Semenyo on the others, but he has the ability to release to the players here. And what you want is Willock, Elanga and or Willock in these areas, right? Now, you would say in these positions, Voltemada is the man, which he probably is, right? To release these guys, to let them essentially do their thing. Here we go. So you want them to go, boom, off to the races with Voltemada being able to play in the behind. That's going to be key here. This is going to be the key part of this game. What Newcastle do in these type of transitions, but it involves Willock playing. Like Willock is very, very important to this side, I think. But Ramsey is super good. And Ramsey not only has the pace and athleticism, but he has the ability, I think, even better than, well, not even actually, there shouldn't be a surprise. I think he's better in these close quarters than Voltemada. So even with the likes of Haaland and Semenyo, it's not going to be Cherky, because Cherky doesn't do that stuff. Closing down. Ramsey has the ability to carry that ball a little bit better. And this is going to be the key part for me anyway. As he's bringing it out, because he's able to hold it a little bit longer, he can force the likes of Nico, and he has the ability to kind of get away from players a little bit more. He has the ability to force the likes of Nico to make this decision. Nico or Rodri, to go out and meet him. And as he does that, you then have the ability to have the space. This is going to be the key part for me. So it's not just about transition and hitting it to your fast players. It's when you're able to hit it, to get it to your fast players. And because he does that, because Ramsey's got the ability to get into close places, to turn, look, and know where to hit it for, you then create even a worse situation for City if you're City. Because as Willock gets it, another really good ball carrying midfielder, you then force the likes of Stones and Gahey are going to be worried about Barnes and Gordon through the middle here. Elangas then has a choice. Do I then also go in for Willock? If I don't go in for Willock because I'm worried about Elanga, all that does is allow the likes of Willock to carry that ball even further up the pitch, and then to the potential situations where you're then getting closer and closer to the goal, and you're forcing defenders to have to make a decision, to have to make a change. You either continue letting Willock go and have a shot himself, but what that does is, at the same time, also is as you get close to the goal, you're more likely to have a shot on goal. Whether it's if it's Voldemort, in my opinion, Voldemort is releasing it a lot more earlier compared to them. So it's going to be a lot more difficult, and Ramsey's really kind of going to be very integral to that. So that's kind of my main reason for playing Ramsey, but also it's difficult because Voldemort is really good. But I think it's going to be attack versus defense quite a bit in this game. And I think the key part is what people have said about, which is City need to win this game. City need to win this game. And can we commit City? Can we be defensively solid and force City to make those decisions? But you might say then, I can also see a situation why people would prefer Voldemort as well. The key for City, and I'm going to ignore the 3-1 victory for them at the Etihad because we were at 2-0 deficit. But the key for them is the bigger games for me was watching them, the 2-0 win they had against us at St. James's Park when all was even. The key for victory in those games is that they hit us on the flank through Doku. And it was really kind of one-touch passing for them in these areas, whether it's Semenyo running in behind here with Haaland. So you'd have these situations with Haaland. Cherki would join in for the overloads as well. So this is very key. Now let's see if my thingy-majig is working today. Oh man. JLA, please, can you fix my thingy? None of these things work. This is annoying. Yes. Why are you working? Anyway, so let me delete that because it's not working. But the idea is to have, when they had these, sometimes even 4 really, but you'd have Stones, Gahey, Elaine, Rodri here. But the idea is to create these type of overloads here where they play these quick one-touch passes. I think it was where Willock is, it was Joe Linton. So he wasn't quick enough to cover for one of the players here. I don't know if it was Nico or Cherki, but he wasn't covering here, and it exposed Trippier. Well, Trippier, for instance, didn't know whether to come or go, and because he left this Nico here, it allowed Norrie to, I think it was Doku or someone on the back to get in the back through here, and because you got Haaland, it was these overlaps here on the back. Let me take this off. Because you got Haaland here, Chow is not gonna let Haaland go, right? So Chow is not gonna let Haaland go, and they're all kind of being pushed to the back here as well. Trippier's by himself. The ball's released to who'd you call it before Nico? The ball's released for the cutback here for Nuri to get into the back for the cutback to Semenyo. And the goal was done. And it was the same goal again via, I can't remember the second player. I think it was Cherki. It was Cherki who got in. Who got in this time. It was through these cutbacks on the left. So that's where, for instance, the likes of Willock and/or Ramsey's discipline in covering these runs from their forwards is going to be very key. I think Ramsey is a little bit better than Willock on that. You want Willock to be doing this, going up the field a little bit more. Does Voldemort have that presence of mind? Does he? I don't know. But I think between Ramsey and Willock, I think they're going to be a little bit better than Voldemort. That's why I would have a midfield of Tonali, Willock, and Ramsey doing that as well. So that'll be key, in my opinion. So that's why I've got them playing. But that's going to be the key. It's those kind of what they're going to be doing in the flanks. I think we're going to be very resilient through the middle. I think we're going to be better matched in terms of our rest defense. That's going to be very, very key as well. But with Chow and Botman and how we're playing kind of a four in the back, I think we're going to be able to deal with it a little bit better. But I think that's going to be the key. I think that's going to be the key, how we deal with City on the flanks as well, and making sure we don't allow their runners to get in behind. But I feel like with a very confident Gordon, what am I doing here? Let me take these guys off. With a very, very fit Gordon, we have a very confident Gordon. We have a better chance of winning this game as well. But let me, guys, send in your scores. I'm going to read the chat as well. Like I said, the main key part for City, I think, is going to be down the flanks against us. For us, it's going to be on the transition. Particularly with us facing up, whether it's Gordon facing up against Stones, Elanga against Ait Nouri, for instance, or Nunes, and on the other side, Barnes against Alain or Rico Lewis. I think Hall is going to be very, very pivotal as well with his runs. Let me just see what I mean. Who's that? Leeds, not Leeds. Sorry, not Leeds. It's going to be Newcastle United. Here we go. Also, before I move on, send in your score predictions. I'm sure you have. It's going to be very, very key what Mr. Hall does with those runs and underlapping runs as well for Newcastle. Our rest defense is going to be very, very key as well. It probably will be. I won't change everybody just yet, but it's going to be very key. Gahey, Haaland. So put him there. Maybe Kassanou goes right. I think Kassanou goes right back, actually. He's very, very pacey as well. Kassanou against Barnes is going to be interesting. Rodri plays as well instead of Lewis. But the main point is here on the right is Hall's ability to support what do you call it? Where's Ramsey? To support Barnes. Here we go. There's Ramsey. To support Barnes in these underlapping runs here. Either overlapping or underlapping, but where's the ball? Where's the ball? Here we go. It's going to get into City's box. So Barnes, Hall, Gordon with the run-in. Can he distract, for instance, Gahey enough? Elanga and the rest. What's been really, really good, Elanga and Willock they've been kind of bumping into each other quite a bit as well. So, but the more they play together, the better the partnership is getting them in these type of positions here. And these runs from Hall supporting Barnes are going to be very, very important, as well as Ramsey actually as well, who's been scoring. So Ramsey getting in here, Tonali here, Chow, Trips. It's going to be very, very important how we deal with that as well, with these type of runs as well. So it's going to be very, very important. We know how not to press City, for sure. We know how not to press City. So my thoughts, my estimations is that we're going to be a lot better in those situations. But Hall is going to be very, very important in kind of getting these balls, whether on the ground or in the air, into our players there as well. So let's see, is Foden going to be able to follow Hall? That's going to be key. Or the other way around, with Hall getting onto the ball here, Barnes in the inside areas as well. That's going to be a very, very interesting game. Very interesting game. So send in your predictions. Let me see what you guys are saying. And I've got maybe like a little bit of time to talk about the latest player that's been linked to us. But yeah, sorry guys, I went quite a bit there, but I've got tons of stuff there. You guys are amazing with the chats. Sending in your excuse me, sending in your lineups has been very, very good. All right, cool. So Giniesta says, okay, let me get my water. Oof, so my back is right. So Giniesta says Stones is probably fourth choice. Diaz Diaz is fit, right? Kassanou ahead of him currently. Okay, so Diaz will play. So that they're getting stronger. They are getting stronger. James says there's no doubt it's going to be Donnarumma. Absolutely. Thanks, Giniesta, for sending in your first team. You've gone for a 5-4-1. Trips, Chow, Botman, Burn. Okay, Hall, Ilanga, Tonali, Ramsey, Barnes, Ilanga, Tonali, Ramsey, Barnes, Gordon. Yeah, I can see that as well, especially away from home. Um, so it will be Gordon, yeah, keeping up that pace. Uh, Robert says, think Trafford stunted his career a little by the City move. Yeah, I totally agree. A Newcastle move only would make sense if Pope or Ramsdale was moved on and Trafford brought in as the number one, at least initially. I agree. The only thing I just get that now Eddie Howe's very good at playing his cards close, but the way he kind of rejected the Trafford, us Newcastle going back in for Trafford, kind of surprised me a little bit. Um, but he's begging to leave, and he is the player that we pursued for a long time. So, like you, I'll be a bit surprised if we don't go back in for him. James says, I have tonight Fisher beer from the Alp. Enjoy, James. Uh, Mitch says, I'm leaning Willock because of the transitions and higher fast press. If it's Walt, will be more fluid in midfield. That's true, which is why the average positions against Qarabag look like a flat three. Yeah, but we all saw the game exactly. It's going to be interesting. The good thing is that we have choices. Wobajok says, Phil, which of your wingers midfielders release the ball or take shots the quickest? Uh, those are the ones I'd start because you'll mainly be sitting deep and trying to catch City on the break. Okay, so the question is, which of your wingers, midfielders release the ball or take shots the quickest? Well, taking shots the quickest is Tonali nowadays, um, and Ramsey probably. Uh, which of your wingers midfielders release the ball to? Which of your wingers? Is that the question? Which one of your wingers midfielders release the ball to or take shots the quickest? Releasing the ball, uh, you probably uh, Ilanga, so it'll be more. It's more of our fullbacks really as well. So trips to when he wants to. Probably Ilanga and Gordon, um, and midfielders is Ramsey and Tonali for the quickest shots, and Barnes as well. Aaron says, if I got your question right, let me know. Oh, is Botman back? Is that confirmed? If Botman's back and confirmed, that will be beautiful. And I'll probably lean towards what Junietta said about having a five. What did he say? 5-4-1 formation or 5-3-2 formation. That'll be interesting. If Botman is back, that'd be really good. yeah. I was gonna say burn for Hall, but hopefully that won't be it. Aaron says that, in my opinion, I think we lose regardless of so we may as well go all out attack. No, but we've done all that attack before, Aaron, and it can get very embarrassing. Expecting the result with the travel and the quality of the opposition and the rest they had is asking a lot. So the odds are stacked against us for Aaron. Aaron says, I think Pep goes Kassanou, Gehi ahead of Diaz. That'll be interesting. Sorry guys, tapping noise is my thingy bob, my mic. Let me see if I do something. It's my not my mic. When I'm clicking on the JLA thingy bobs, that's the only time you hear the tapping noise. Apologies, guys. There's a way of making it, maybe because I'm catching the echoes quite a bit. Let me see. No, but that's down. Yeah, apologies. The tapping noise is this. It's when I'm pressing on the mouse and stuff like that. You can hear it now. Sorry. I don't know if there's another way to quieten it down. Neil, God bless you, Neil. Neil, the gunner says the key is. I've got Arsenal fans are here are giving a. Arsenal fans are saying, "Can you please?" They're here. They're giving us strategic advice, tactical advice. They're giving us prayers, everything. Neil Gunner says the key is to keep this game as tight as you can. You will get your opportunities and break play or the counter. Yeah, in the simplest possible way, that is the biggest opportunity that Newcastle have, really. Aaron says, part of me thinks Eddie goes 5-4-1. Murphy starting ahead of Elanga because Trippier will get exposed this game because him against either winger is a mismatch. We saw what happened in the cup. We saw that only because, yeah, the eights have to be involved. Maybe if Miley's fit, he comes back in. Um, I can see why they play Murphy, but Murphy's positioning isn't as good as Trippier's. This is why, obviously, big reason why Trippier gets ahead of him. But I see what you're saying. Yes, Botman is back for City. Thanks for that, Aaron. That is fabulous news. That is fantastic, fantastic, fantastic news. Fantastic news. Thanks for sending your predictions, Agent 3-2 to Newcastle, right? Let me know. Thanks. Makes sense. Philip needs to move it away from the speaker. Oh, what the? Okay, I'll do that for next time. If I'm scared if I move my laptop, the camera will go off. But I will remember that for the future. Thank you for that. African Picket, Bobby. Thank you guys for that. Is that here? Actually, let me just do it. Let me put my speaker here. All right. Let me know, you guys, if you can hear me first of all, and if you can still hear the clicking. You probably will hear the clicking sound, to be honest. Unless I return it to, yeah, we'll have to figure it out. I'll do my best though. All right, so Burn and Botman for the Champions League second leg suspension. Chow, unfortunately. Well, at least to get some rest. And I remember that one as well. They were giving them like Christmas cards. 2-2. They got. Is that your heart or your head? Let me know, Neil. Let me know, Neil. But it's always, by the way, it's always a privilege to have and a pleasure to have opposition fans join the channel. So God bless you, Neil. Thank you. 2-2 from Neil. Who else? Agent sent one as well. 3-2. Let me know, you guys, your predictions. Aaron says, play the under 21s for the second leg. Game's done anyways. I wouldn't. Under 21s aren't that good. I'll be honest. In my opinion, I haven't seen them too much. I wouldn't risk it like that. And some players need a run out. Joe Linton needs a run out. Miley needs a run out. Botman needs a run out if he doesn't play against City. Warburg says 2-1 Gordino late dagger. A man can dream. He's Gordino now. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Aaron says pushing Willock and Ramsey forward will leave us exposed between the lines, which was a very big issue. It was. I think, though, keeping 3 or 4 at the back has reduced that issue. And part of it is Tonali's position was poor, but I think we're getting better at the rest defense now with the 4 at the back. Aaron says, want to try be optimistic, but the lads travelled 1,000 miles from 5,000 miles from. It was 5,000 miles, Aaron, from Azerbaijan, and some of our players played unnecessary minutes, which I think is going to be an issue. 4-1 win City. Thanks for sending your predictions, Aaron. Aaron's been realistic for himself. James says Trafford, watching him a couple of times now. I would prefer to have Bart Verbruggen. I like Verbruggen. A lot of people don't. I really like Verbruggen. Wingers and midfielders. So which ones release the ball quickest, are you saying, or take the shots quickest? Barnes. I think Barnes and Gordon, in terms of shots on target, really quick when they can. Ramsey's goal that he scored for us lets me know that he can take it one time. Releasing the ball really good as I would say Ramsey's probably the best at the moment. Willock needs to work on it. He travels on the ball really well, but releasing the ball needs to work on it. That's the only part. Maybe that's where Voldemort might be looked at, but we'll see. Aaron says, I don't rate Trafford, to be honest. Would rather go for the Lance keeper, who would be cheaper on wages as well. I've heard about this Lance keeper as well. I have to look him up. Thanks, Aaron. Bobby says, isn't it weird that Philip is wearing a headset, but the mouse click is so loud? I don't know how that's I don't know how that's working either. I think because the mic, I got the mic that captures a lot of maybe outside noise as well. I've tried to reduce it. Let me know if it's working out. Oh, good. Juniesta says I can hear you loud and clear. Good, 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 good. Thanks for that, Juniesta. I'll try not to. So, I missed Neil Gunner. I've missed Neil Gunner a little bit. Here we go. Neil Gunner says, I think that beatdown you got in the cup will make you determined you need the points. I love it. I love how supportive Arsenal fans are today. Wobble Joke says, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm an Arsenal fan refugee in this YouTube space, not really offering any technical advice. Arsenal content is dark and bleak as ground zero lately. Yeah, I agree. I've only discovered, I think, is it Clive and somebody else recently who are a lot more calmer. Um, when Patrice Evra says it's not the players, it's the fans. I'm beginning to tilt that way a lot more nowadays, honestly. But the thing is, because some of my most respected friends and like childhood friends are Arsenal fans, it's not until I get online that I realize how badly it's gone. But it's like one of my close friends, because they remind me of Arsenal back in the day. This new wave is crazy. Aaron says Miley's not fit for 2 weeks, confirmed by Eddie. Okay, so it's going to be either Trippier or Jacob Murphy at right back, really. James, no, sorry, he's talking to Aaron there. Oh, so cool. I think that's everybody. All right, so let's give our predictions. And I'll do we'll do the last 10, 15 minutes on the player linked to Newcastle. You've all made great points. A few of you have gone for 1 City, 3-2 City, 2-2s. Do we go for 5-4-1? Is it going to be a 4 at the back? City need this game. It's going to be the opposite way around. They really need this game. As I always say, because you guys know I'm incapable of saying, it will be a narrow path to victory for Newcastle. If Newcastle win, it'll be a narrow path to victory. It will need a very strong, disciplined defensive performance. And for us to be deadly in front of goal, which in the last 3 games we have been. In the last 3 games, we've scored 11 goals. 11 goals. But as Giniesta says here, I think we are meeting City at the wrong time. They are smelling blood, and they are also rested. No midweek games, and they met Salford in the FA Cup 3-1 City. Sometimes though, having that break doesn't help. I can see a slow start from City. I'm gonna go for, this is more of my heart. We're not gonna want the beat down though, and we're not gonna take that. I'm gonna go for a 2-2. I'm gonna go for a 2-2. I can see. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a 2-2. I can see them like scoring from outside the box or a set piece, something like that, City, rather than like tearing us or something like that. Neil said, "Your head on my heart." Yeah, this one's probably more my. Did you know what is annoying me about it? Because I know City. You have to be. They say realistic, but like we haven't won there. City small blood. They're a very good team. They got players back fit. I get it. However, we've played them. This will be like our 4th, 5th game. If we don't know, if we didn't know before, it will be. We know now exactly what our strengths and limitations are against them. We're in good form. We've won 3 away games in a row. Our strikers on fire. Our forwards are doing well. Our midfield are doing well. We've got a way. We've found a way so far to play more fluid football, to defend transitions better, and we're in better form overall. Like we're in good form as well. Doesn't mean we're going to beat City, but it means that I'm trying to balance it out. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for a 2-2. I'm going to go for a 2-2. I'm going to give it to Gordon, and I'm going to give it to for scorers. I'm going to go give it to Elanga. I'm going to give it to Elanga. Gordon in Elanga. All right, guys. So let me see what you guys are saying, and we'll give the last 10, 15 minutes to this mystery player that we've been linked to. Mitch says it will be a game with very small margins. Hopefully they go our way. And that's what I think it will be. I really think it'll be a very small margin. Newcastle says, weirdly, I think the game suits you. You played well for like 10 minutes at City. Well, I laugh, but people will remember the clips of Gordon one-on-one, Willock one-on-one, Elangas, and those are the times in the game where it was like, still 0-0. If those two goals go in, the tie is flipped. So we can get him. It's not that we're not going to get chances against it. We are. My biggest question is finishing them off. We're doing that this season. We're doing that in the last 3 games a lot better. So no, I think we can do something here. All right. So please do continue sending in your data. Not data. I'm reading James's chat. Send in your match predictions and everything else. But let's have a butchers at this mystery defender. There's not such a mystery, but he's been talked about online. But let's talk about him anyway, because he's been linked to us before. I like him. I do like him quite a bit as a player. And where is it? I'm trying not to make it click. Is it this one? So let me share this and then share the other one. Cool. So Newcastle interested in Odilon Kassanou. This was today's report from Jasper Shepherdson. Now, from you guys will be aware, not just from watching the show, but just been online. Newcastle have been linked to Odilon for 2-3 years now, for quite a bit. Formerly played at Bayer Leverkusen, was a big part of their invincible team there before he's gone to Atalanta. Now, let's just read this report quickly. There are plenty of issues of needs. Obviously, there are a lot of fluff there. But last month, the Mail's Craig Hope reported that they were scouting, that we were scouting a number of defenders from Syria, including Odilon Kassanou, as well as Honest Ahano, Brooke Norton-Coffey, and Genoa from Genoa, and Thiago Gabriel from Lecce. And now, according to Africa Foot, it's reported that we're particularly interested in signing Ivory Coast international Odilon Kassanou. He's made 24 appearances for Atalanta this season, including every game in their Champions League campaign. With it suggested that the 25-year-old, he turned 25 in January. I want to say January the 14th. Don't ask me how I remember that. 25-year-old could be available for around 25 million euros. Kassanou also has been on the radar of other Premier League clubs. Crystal Palace linked to a signature towards the end of last season, with Mark Gay having departed in January. It wouldn't be a surprise if we entered the market for this summer. And it talks about Shaw being obviously, even if Shaw was to be offered a new deal, we'll only have the Swiss star alongside Malik Chow, Sven Botman, and Dan Burn in terms of centre backs. Now, they've got him as a centre back, but the report, Odilon can play right back. He actually started off as a right back. And let me share my thingy magic. Odilon plays in the for Atalanta as a wide right centre back. So he can play right back. He started off as a right back at Bayern Leverkusen as well, who can also play as a back three. And obviously, we know that Newcastle are increasingly playing with a back three or a back two for in terms of players and positioning formation. Um, so I can see him rotating regularly with Livramento and with Malik Chow in that versatile role. Instead of Newcastle buying two right backs, I can see him playing rotating with Malik Chow and with Livramento. That's if Livramento doesn't leave the summer. That's the other question, right? Is Kassanou the Livramento replacement? That's the other question to ask as well. Um, the reason why might not be why I don't see him as an out and out right centre back replacement for Chow, meaning um, looking for that starting position and more of a right back who can play right centre back is because of his, and we're going to talk about it, his quite poor aerial stats, which is not what Eddie Howe would want from his centre back. Even though he's about 6 foot something, he's not very good at it. But anyway, essentially, Atalanta have a very aggressive 3-4-2-1 style of play, and which obviously Mr. Odilon plays on the right centre back positions there in that 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-1-2 man-to-man press, which he was doing similar stuff against Leverkusen as well. And so they kind of use fluid build-up. They avoid slow midfield progression. They have a wing-back dominance, which is what Leverkusen did, which relies heavily on high athletic wing-backs who provide width, deliver crosses, and act as primary targets. So Odilon's role in that is he serves as a proactive wide centre back, typically on the right side of the back three, which is what you would have Chow doing, depending on how we play. But you'd have Chow kind of doing that similar role to Chow, ball playing stopper, but then also as Livramento. Livramento is less of a back three; he's more of a all-out right back as well. So I think maybe we're moving away from that. I don't know. He is tasked with stepping out of defensive line to engage in one-on-one duels. Chow does that as well. Progressive carrier, Chow does that as well. Leveraging his pace, he's got 93% passing accuracy, which is really, really good. But you can get that in Italy. He had a similar one against when at Leverkusen. He's got really high passing accuracy in Italy and in Germany. But at the same time, so did Chow. So it looks like Eddie Howe's trusting the Italian league a little bit more. So as they said, so Kassanou so far this season, he's made 14 appearances in Serie A, 9 Champions League appearances, played 835 minutes in Serie A, 700 minutes at Champions League, so about 1,500 minutes overall. Passing accuracy superb in those areas as well. Kept 2 clean sheets in either of those games. So I don't know how the tackling is so low. I think maybe because of the level of minutes and probably team possession. So where does he rank in terms? I looked at where does he rank in terms of amongst the team for key metrics around Atalanta players. I did a general Atalanta player ranking, and also with their defensive, with their kind of centre backs as well. Amongst the general players, he is number 1 for passing accuracy. He's 5th for progressive passes. Their number 1 is Charles Di Ketelaere. So the fact that he's 5th for progressive passes, versus forwards versus midfielders is not bad at all. 6th for successful tackles, 4th for interceptions, 9th tied obviously for goals scored. He's a defender, so it doesn't really matter. And obviously a little bit lower for expected assists. But if you look at him compared to other centre backs, I think he's second amongst centre backs for passing accuracy. He is the lowest for successful tackles, which is interesting again. Progressive carries is number 1. So he's the guy that brings that ball forward. He is lowest for interceptions, which is interesting again because You've got the likes of Kolasinac. Remember Kolasinac? And Robojogo remember Kolasinac, who's played even less minutes. No. My fault. All three of the other centre backs have played nearly twice the amount of minutes as Odilon. I mean, I think Isak, we've got a guy called Isak, played about 1,500 minutes. He's played 835 minutes. Isak's played 1,500 minutes. Berat's played 1,500 minutes, 1,700 minutes, excuse me. And Saeed has played 1,100 minutes. They've all played more minutes than him. So it might be the reasons why, or it will be one of the reasons why they've got higher stats in certain areas. But he'll be last for interceptions, and he's got 2 clean sheets so far. So I would say it would be safe to say that for interceptions and successful tackles, for instance, they will be a lot higher if we play them the same amount of minutes as them in the Serie A. It'll be interesting to see why he's not playing the Serie A. Is it because of injuries? In fact, let me look at his injury record so far. Share this tab instead. Is it this tab? Let's share this tab instead. Let's see. Has he had any injuries this season? Odilon. Can you guys see my fit? Yeah, you can. Let's see what Odilon is saying. Or is he just simply not getting picked, which would be another thing. He's 191 centimeters. Is that 6'4"? Something like that? 6'3", 6'4". So no injuries in the last. Well, he had an injury in last April. So I wonder why he's not been playing. That'll be interesting. And you can see him TCR. I wonder why he's not been playing. Is he just not in favor? That would be the key. Let me see on transferwindow.com because they got an injury record history. Let me just quickly see. But he's been available. He's just not been playing, essentially. He's just not been playing. Odilon. He's just not been playing. His contract runs out in 2029. Transfer history is there. Where is he's played 1,500 minutes this season? He's mainly been using their Champions League stuff, which is very interesting. Where is his? Where's the injury? Stats, goals, suspensions. Oh, here we go. Injury history. So make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. So this is injury history. So 25-26 season, from the 1st of October to the 20th of October, so 19 days or 20 days, he was out with a hamstring injury. In 24-25 season, which is like nearly 2 years ago, he was out for 89 days of an abductor injury. So he hasn't got a lengthy one. 23-24 season, he was out for 26 days in 24-25. So 24-25 season, he was out over 100 days. Before that 22-23 season, he was out for 50 days. So the 22-23 season, he was overall he was out for 100 days. 24-25 season, he was out for 100 plus days. He's only really missed 3, 5, 6. So the most he's missed in his career, like in one season, was about 23 games. So that was about last season. It's not a lengthy history. It's not a bad history, in my opinion. So far this season, he's missed 4 games. Maybe the other guys are just playing better at this moment in time. But he plays in that right back role, wide right back role, right centre back, right back role. Let me see if there's anything else on him that we might have missed. Not that one. Where is it? Here we go. It's this one. Let me see. But let me know if you guys know anything about him. We've talked about him before. I do like him ball player, progressive distributor, defensive volume. But he's got bad aerial presence, and that was even when we talked about him a year or 2 years ago. That's maintained itself. That's the one thing he doesn't have. So let's have a look at him on the match on the old YouTube highlights, so we get kind of a feel for how he plays. But would he be a Livramento replacement? Would he? I hope not. I hope he's depth. I honestly do. I honestly hope that he's depth. So this is a more recent one. Oh, that's an interview with him. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Let me see if I can find a good one. Let me find some clips of him. Where is it? The most recent, that's 23-24 season. That's at Leverkusen. Let me see if I can get, oh, we go. All right, let's see if we can get here. Make sure you guys can see it. Yeah, you can. Okay, so that's him obviously at Atalanta. Last time we looked at him, we were looking at, so that's, again, in the wide areas here. That looks like he's on the left side. I don't know, right side here. That's the progressive passes they were talking about. Let me take off the chat so you guys can see it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, folks. Let me take this off. One-on-one situations, powerful, strong. You can see why he can play. He plays right back, but he's a wide right centre back as well. 6'3", 6'4". I don't know why he's poor with his aerial ability. That's the craziest thing ever. Able to collect the ball, pass 1-2s. See him again in the opposition half. Very cool under pressure. Good with the ball, bringing it out there. Playing in the middle of the three there as well. I don't think he'll be doing that for Newcastle. Like, you need to improve your aerial ability if you're going to do that for Newcastle. Picking up again. That's part of his distribution. His passing accuracy, remember, 93, 94%. He's really, really good at that. But obviously, that could be him playing it safe, they would say. But it'd be interesting to see what his risk level is like, if that changes. Again, bringing it out the back, but there you go. He is able to do it very, very well. Got good pace, athleticism as well. He's not going to get outran very easily. Good in 1v1s, especially down the flanks, which is important for us. Picking up there, again, decent close control. And that's the distributions that you want. So look, I don't mind Odilon. One-on-ones there. Good recovery there. Good recovery. But let me know what you guys think of him. As always, guys, I want to know your thoughts on the man himself. So let me read the chats and we'll get to the conclusion. Where is it? Tons of chats. Well done, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, folks, as always. James says, I'll have to check out date. Oh, no, I read that one. Ginesta says, Odilon Kassanou came from a famous academy in Ivory Coast, joined Swedish side Hammarby, yeah, and then just went from strength to strength since then. So do you rate him, Ginesta? Do you reckon he'll be a good buy? I think you actually said something here as well. I'll get to it in a moment. James says, we did try to put an offer in, but if we remember correctly, he was looking for a full-time Champions League team. Possibly. I'm trying to remember. There was discussions. I remember there being discussions. I don't know why I wouldn't go ahead with it. Ginesta says, Kassanou often started for Ivory Coast ahead of the hyped Sporting defender Diomande. That's interesting. That is interesting. Ginesta says, Don Gasparini got Kassanou for a bargain, loan with the option to buy. He did. That was weird because the Leverkusen team was very good. Aaron says, I want someone in the Kassanou bracket to be back up to Chow. I think that's what we need, to be honest. Yeah, I really like Kassanou as well. But what I'll say about Kassanou, Odilon Kassanou, has got tons of experience. Ginesta says, speaking of Atlanta, we tracked Scalvini for so long, but I think 17-year-old Honest Ahano is the one we should go for. He's 17 years old. Wow. A left-sided centre-back who also played as a wing-back for Atlanta. That's interesting. That is interesting as well. I'll have to look him up. He does some. Kolasinac sounds familiar to Wobodrog. Junior says, fun fact about Atlanta centre-back Isak Hayne. He came through AIK through academy like Alexander Isak as well, both 99 generation. Hayne, a centre-back, now played as a striker up until he was 18. Crazy. That's crazy. Hayne was preferred choice as striker over Alexander Isak until he was until under 15s. That's mad. That is crazy. Thanks for that, Giniesta. Giniesta says, Hammarby is my local rival team. Okay. AIK is my local, and it was clear to see that Kassanou was going straight to the top within the future. So you actually seen him live. Fair play to you, Giniesta. I like that. So, yeah. Me, I hope it comes true, and I hope we keep Livramento, although I think that's going to be difficult. But Kassanou, I think, is a good player. Can play both positions. Is versatile. I wouldn't mind to see it happen. All right, folks. So look, we had a fantastic show. We did a match reaction to the Qarabag game, our third away win, 6 goals scored, brilliant performances. Mr. Gordon was undoubtedly the man of the match for that. We talked about the match. We did a match preview for the City game. We looked at the Athletic article around Mr. Voltemado's role. Is he attacking midfielder? What is he? And he's pretty much a number 8. Eddie Howe is firm on saying we're playing the same system we played for years. It's just got different personnel in it. And Voltemado just plays it differently to Bruno or to any other midfielder. But it works. It works for Newcastle. And we talked about who do you start? Would it be Voltemado? Would it be Willock? Who would you start in that midfield? I think everybody had different starting lineups, which is good to see, which shows you the strength of our midfield. We gave our predictions. I've gone for a 2-2. A few of you went for losses. I don't think anybody went for a win, which is interesting. So let's see if Newcastle can surprise us. And we did lastly a scouting profile of Mr. Odilon Kassanou, linked once again to Newcastle. I think he'll be a good buy if it were to happen. It'd be even better if we were to keep Livramento, but there is a big question mark over that. But as always, folks, you've been absolutely phenomenal with your likes, shares, subscribes, and even the live views have been really good today as well. As always, folks, make sure you look after each other. And as always, folks, I want to make sure that you take care of each other, and God bless you.